Uh, I thought it was a fun week of softball. Other than the results weren't necessarily what we wanted, but I really enjoyed watching my team this week, and I think I saw growth in our team. I'm trying to be really positive today in my mental approach because we start practice tomorrow. Today's an off day, and as I go through the week, I saw a lot of really positive signs. I'm elated with our pitching staff right now. I think our pitching, we're not giving up home runs this year. I was just noticing in my office this year, Sam Landry's threw 40 innings and give up one home run. Last year in the first 27 innings, she'd give up six, and that was up until the 16th game of the year. 16th game of the year. So we've thrown her more, and we've gotten a lot better numbers as far as giving up doubles and home runs. And so that's a positive sign that is a huge sign going forward. Chloe Riacetto's numbers are also much better and down. And then, of course, we had the great performance yesterday from Denali Lecker, which is, I think, a big thing for us to keep finding arms and keep finding our pitchers getting more comfortable. We picked up a couple of wins that we needed. The biggest thing I saw this week and most proud I was I thought our kids fought hard against Texas. And I've been looking for that, looking for that fight. That's what the Raging Cajuns, if you've ever, the history of our program, it's we're fighters. We don't give up. We fight. We punch back. And I thought we saw that yesterday where they were aggressive. When Texas came back like Texas is going to do because they're a great ball club, number two team in the country. You get ahead of them, and it's 4-0. I knew it was early, and I told the girls, like, hey, they're coming, and you've got to keep punching. And when they caught up 4-4, I thought our girls fought really hard, and I thought they played really hard. We made mistakes in the game. There was a lot of stuff that we can clean up and things that we aren't happy with. But at the same time, at the end of the day, on the road, end of a long week, they didn't lay down. They were fighting. They were fighting really hard. So for me as a coach, that was by far the highlight of the week was the effort and the resiliency and the fight that I saw in the ball club on Sunday afternoon against Texas.
The defensive issues, is that a matter of just getting confidence, mental, or is that a matter of just settling on your personnel decision?
Ooh, I don't know the answer. That's the negative right now. If you look at our overall performance, first 16 games, we put an emphasis on defense, and we put an emphasis on execution, double plays, and I think we're seeing a very mixed bag. Our double plays at this time last year, after 16 games, we'd turned 3. We've turned 9 this year. We have more outfield assists this year. I feel like we've done a good job playing balls off the wall and in the gaps. We've done a better job on that, but our errors are way higher. We had 14 errors through 16 games last year. We have 25 errors right now. So enormous difference, right? Last year we averaged, in 16 games, we had give up 10 unearned runs. And in 16 games this year, we've give up 17 unearned runs, like 1.03 a game. So very disappointing to see, us giving up more unearned runs. When you think about one unearned run a game, and that's an enormous number. That's a number that will impact our season if we can figure it out. So the defensive concerns are, very valid and definitely on my mind as I'm going into tomorrow.
When you're not scoring a bunch of runs, is it then more important to play more of a defensive team because you're probably figuring right now I'm not scoring a bunch of runs. It's important for me to try to win 2-1 or 3-2 or something. Or how are you thinking?
Exactly like you're saying. You go into the game, you think, we're not scoring many runs. Should I gamble out here on defense and put an offensive player in right field? Should I give up defense for offense because we're not scoring? Or do you think, no, we're not scoring, so let's put our very, very best defensive lineup on the field? And And that's what we've been doing for the most part. I mean, if you look at our lineups, we've been going more for the defense, which doubles up on the concern that you have for the air situation. And the air situation is definitely, you can see, like I can pick out, the biggest part of our errors have been on the infield, and it's infielders trying to field the ball a certain way. They're trying to get their feet in a certain position. They're trying to get their body in a certain angle. And that's stuff that we worked on in fall practice and in practice, but we're not letting go of it when we walk out on the dirt. And so that's one thing that will be addressed this weekend practice. And we just have to talk about it with the players and get them to understand. It's no different than, I don't like seeing my hitters in between pitches step out and you see them thinking about their elbow or thinking about their hand before they step in the next pitch, because that means they're thinking about their batting mechanics. And you can't think about batting mechanics. You have to think about the approach and the pitch that may be coming, your approach at bat, what you need to do. Anything approach related I'm acceptable with, but not mechanically. And so the defensive situation is extremely valid, extremely concerning, and has our full attention.
What about tomorrow? Like, what do you plan on doing? This is a game that seems like it's almost gone in the way. So, like, how do you do it pitching wise?
Yeah, well, we put somebody out there and try and hope they grow. Either we run a Chloe Riasetto out there or a Landry, and we try to gain confidence. You know, Landry's record, she's pitched so good. Like, she's pitched really good. But also, if you look at her one-loss record, she deserves to have more wins. And so very likely I'll run Landry out, hope to improve her record some going into the weekend with a tough weekend coming up in Oklahoma, help to grow her confidence. Or I could go with Lecker or Chloe and try to get them more time out there. They obviously have pitched really well. I would like to do that. I wish I had 3 of these games tomorrow. You know, I would love to get Ryan and Delbria start. So we need tomorrow night. I could use a couple of those games. So we'll pick out what Justin thinks is the most important thing tomorrow night to accomplish with the pitching staff, and that's what we'll do.
Did starting Denali, was that a matchup? We think she might match up with what Texas does, or what went into that?
I thought they had faced Stanford and their real good pitcher the night before, Kennedy, and the rise ball at 70-something mile an hour. And I knew that I had great concern going from Kennedy to Mac Morgan. I knew that would be a tough matchup to go from Kennedy. So I thought, let's just pull it. We know they faced Kennedy on Saturday night. Let's throw Lecker on Sunday morning. I think it sets her up to have success, and I thought it would offset what they'd been working on, 12 hours before.
Vasquez, she's gotten some more hits? I mean, is she getting closer to?
I think that I liked what I saw from Sissy this weekend. I like what I see out of Sissy every day because she's such a great person. Like, she's a great student athlete. She gives you full effort every day in practice. She gives you extreme effort always. So easy to root for a kid like that. But yeah, she her challenge in college has been getting the offensive side going, and she's very good last week. I think she had 4 hits on the weekend. The bunt was a big play. She got that down. And, she played some good shortstop. She made some good plays at shortstop. Struggled a little bit there yesterday, but that's going to happen, and it's been happening. But on the other hand, I'm still really high on I'm really high on Brooke Elistad. And so I think that, my thought this week, let's get Sissy out there and give her some effort. Let's give Brooke some time off. Let's let her get away from the position, maybe take a breather, and at some point she'll go back out there, I'm sure, and get more time at shortstop, and we'll see what happens.
Last week you said that you were hoping when you came out of this past weekend that you would see a little bit, I don't know the exact words, but a fight, some compete on your team. Do you feel like you got that? And how do you build on that moving forward?
I felt like we got the fight yesterday against Texas. I felt like against Stanford, once they got ahead of us, we absolutely lost our breath and couldn't get our breath back, and never made a comeback. And so I had like mixed on that, but the really good thing was because we had a large crowd of 2,000 people. I think the crowd yesterday was listed at 1,900 and something. It was it was a good Sunday afternoon, super regional type crowd. And for our kids to come out and like the first thing, I'm just going to coach all out. So I had hit and run, hit and run, hit and run. I was able to do that. We have a drop ball pitcher in Mac Morgan throwing. So I'm able to hit and run without worrying about pop-up flies or line drives. I'm pretty sure we're going to get ground balls. And we were just throwing everything in the world, and we got 3-0 lead. We tried to steal third and hope something happens, and it did. I mean, the ball really didn't roll 5 feet. I'm sending her because I'm just hoping if it hadn't been a bad throw. So we're like trying to be super, super aggressive and set the tone for the day. And then I thought, when they made the comeback in the second and got it 4-4, I thought maybe there was one inning where we lost our breath, and then we came back and we played really good. I thought Lecker never lost her breath. I thought when Lecker came back in the game, she competed the entire time extremely well. So yeah, it was to do that against Texas, the number 2 team in the country, on the road in front of a large crowd at home. And after a week when you're you go in that game, you're 1-4. So you have no momentum. I think it's a big deal. I think it's a sign that we're not, we're nowhere near giving up. I think it's a sign that we still want to put this thing together, and our players are listening and buying into what I'm saying. My pregame speech was 2 things: compete and punch back. And that's it. At the hotel before we left, I talked to him about, actually coaching like junior high teams. And the junior high team I'm most proud of in my coaching career isn't the 28-0 state champion, or it isn't the 25-2 state champion, not the 27-0 state champion. It's a team that went 14-11 because they had 6, 7, 6th graders, and we start the year like 2-5, and then we end up the year 14-11 because we'd practice till 5:30, and then from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, all those kids are in my hitting cage in my barn, and their parents are sitting there in lawn chairs, and they worked and they worked and they worked, and they got 14-11 that year. And the next 2 years, they won the state championship, going 25-2 and 27-0. And this team can be that 14-11 team. We no matter how we start, it's going to be about how we finish. And I talked to him about that. And, I want, my favorite team at Louisiana, might surprise people, but it's the 2018 team. I love that team. That team didn't have talent. That team had heart. It had leaders like Gerry Glasco and that just got out there and gutted it out. And, our Ariel Massa's diving catch at LSU in center field, and the play that Dalton played over and over and over at shortstop. She was the best player on the field in the LSU regional that year in 2018. Gerry Glasco, no matter what you needed defensively, offensively, she fought you tooth and nail. Lexi Como fought you tooth and nail. The way she played catcher, her arm was hurting. She, had trouble throwing that year, but she gave you everything she got every day. So that's my favorite team here. And I love all my teams. I love the players we've had, enormous talent. But this team can be like that 2018 team because of the situation we're in. They keep fighting for the program. They keep putting it together. And that's what my pregame talk was, and I thought they bought the message and went out and responded. So I'm in a good mood about that, even though, you probably don't expect me to be in a very good mood after a 2-4 week.
Maddie Hayden, if you'd have told me before the year, Maddie's going to get off to a 4.29 start, I'm like, well, that's a good sign. She didn't even have her best year last year, but what's behind her?
I think Maddie had a really phenomenal freshman year, and she made it look so easy, batting she was in that 400 category all year long, and then at the end fell down to 364, I think, or 368. She had a great freshman year. And then you come back your sophomore year, and that's always the toughest year if you've had a great freshman year. I didn't think Maddie had a bad sophomore year. I thought she had a very normal sophomore year for a great player. And this year, in January, I kept telling my coaching staff, because we got new people, Shelly's new, Hunter's new. I said this at least 5 times, during January, like, hey, Maddie Hayden's playing. Maddie Hayden's going to compete every single day. Maddie Hayden competes against the best teams the hardest. And we saw that our freshman year. I go back to the Auburn game. you just saw it in the regional at Clemson, and you saw it at other times, but that specifically stands out in my mind. And once you see that out of a player, you don't ever need to see it again. It's never going to leave them. She's the ultimate competitor. And so it's really bringing out the best in her right now, where you got players losing a little bit of their confidence. You got players losing their breath, and kind of getting staggered a little bit by things that happen, but not Maddie. Maddie just competes every day. And the tougher it gets, the more it brings out that natural fight in her. And I think, just her, she's using softball as her refuge right now. And no matter how bad the things go for our team, she gets even better because it brings out her natural, fight